It's time to take one last look at our Hardcore Kingdom, this incredible place that we ended up surviving over 1,000 days in. And I'm just going to hang out with you all today. We're going to walk around, and I'm going to show you everything that there is to see here. We're going to start our tour by jumping into the water right here and heading over to our custom island that we ended up doing in 1,000 days. And you can see right here, we have an awesome little dock that heads right into the coastline. And as we head on over, as the sun sets, you can see that this place is entirely decorated. I made sure to go 100% the entire time when building this thing. We have tons of crop fields over here, and we have even more crops over here, and the idea is kind of to have a little bit of a contrast between all the different crops in the island. I made sure to add a couple of extra hay bales in the area, and as you can see, we have some custom lampposts right here as well. I really do think that they give such a wonderful vibe. We can continue along down to our first tower that we have right here, and it kind of looks a little bit funky, if I'm being honest. We can take a look over here, and the flag looks a little bit funky, but what you're gonna do when you're trying your best to make a flag in this world, you'll see that the tower behind me is looking a lot better with its flag. I think that we can get a better look of it if we head over here in this direction, which outlines a nice watermelon field that we have behind this tower, and even more watermelons that we have in the chest area right here. It just looks so cool looking. We have our one little sturdy trapdoor, which we can flip up in case we want to get any of the stuff that we have in the chest, although I think I did end up clearing them out. And I think that having two towers just like this outlining the island just makes a really cool vibe. You'll notice as we walk around the island that I paid extra attention to all of the lighting that we have. I really wanted to make sure that this place looked incredible at night, and so I spared no attention to detail. Over on this area on the left right here, we have a really cool warped wood looking house, which actually happens to hold a sugarcane farm inside. You can see that we have a cool looking interior with all of the warped wood that we have right here, and especially with the shader pack, it just looks awesome. I may have gone a little bit overkill with the dark oak trapdoors, but we really did happen to have a ton on hand at the time, and we can actually head up this ladder to the second floor where we'll be met with a little bit of a storage area. We have tons of barrels all over, and then we have some pots and flowers outlining the area as well. We never ended up getting to use this area right here. All of the barrels are going to be empty, but we can head back down the ladder, and if we see this stairwell right here, we can head on down, and we'll be met with a really cool bamboo farm. With all of the walls, we used blocks that I pretty much didn't end up using in this world to make a kind of like mosaic or collage. And right here, you can see as the minecart goes along, we have tons of bamboo that's in this chest right here, giving us a supply that we didn't actually end up using in the 1,000 days that we were in this world. I always like to think that this table right here is kind of like a meeting table for whatever reason, but we can open the door and we'll be met with one of the custom ships that I ended up making in this world. Once again, we have really cool attention to detail with the lighting. We have the blue light with the warped wood right here, and then we have the lanterns, and of course we have a couple of extra lanterns on the boat that we have here too. Over in this area, we have the second of 3 docks on this island, and we have our custom boat right here, which has some warped wood trapdoors and some spruce trapdoors too, and it just looks so cool. And we can actually, I do believe, head up to this ladder right here. Maybe not, I guess it's just for show, but I really do like all the different colors that we have going on for the sail. I think that it definitely suits the mystical theme that we have going on for the village, and definitely the color theme that we have going on here too. Over in this area, we have a wheat field, of course, and then down in the far end, we have a potato field right here with some pots in the background, and I definitely used a couple of different blue and white flower variants to give some extra color and texture to the area too. And one thing that I ended up doing for the first time in this village, in particular in this house, that I've never done before, is I ended up using a grindstone right here to kind of have like a jut out bit for the building. I think that it works really well with the lanterns and the sunflowers that we have right here, along with the wheat too. It kind of just all blends in really nice together. We can continue along this area right here where we have a little bit of a farm area too, and some storage with some barrels, and of course all the extra decoration once again with some sunflowers and then some one tall flowers too. As we head back to the center of the island, you can kind of notice that on the outer ring we have tons of different leaves to give that extra little contrast between the island and the water. And especially during the day, I think that it makes all the difference in the world, especially if you ended up seeing episode 6 of the Hardcore Kingdom, where we started with this island bare bones. This entire place has definitely come a long way since then, I think. And right here we have a custom well with a plant with a flower on top. I mean, a pot with a flower on top. But it's going to be a deep slate based well, and we have a chain right here and then a lantern for some extra light. And it definitely gives a nice little centerpiece to the island, in my opinion. Another wonderful centerpiece that we have right here is going to be the wagon that we have. This is supposed to be a farming village, which is funny because you would think that this place is a fishing village, but as you can see by all of the crops that we have around us, it's definitely more of a farming one. But although the people of this village really can't use this wagon whatsoever, I really like having it here. It definitely gives a little bit extra curve to the background and the skyline right here. And it definitely fills in this wheat field as well. Right next to the wagon and the well, we have a wandering trader's llama right here, and I actually never killed a single wandering trader during the 1,100 days, but somehow the wandering trader ended up getting disconnected from this llama right here, and so the lead was on the ground, and I ended up taking the llama, and he seems to be pretty happy there. I think he's okay with it. But anyway, this area right here is actually my favorite build of this island. I went through tons of different iterations when it came to making this build, and the final design with all of the warped trapdoors and just all of the different kind of angles that we have with the roofs, and especially with our barn area right here, it just makes the entire place come together. We can open the dark oak door right here, and this entire area, as you can see right here, is a little bit of a clay farm. This bottom floor actually doesn't happen to work. I think that I have the dripstone right here, maybe one block too high on the ceiling, and so none of the mud that we have right here is converting. But as it rains, of course, oh man, we have a ton of bookshelves right over in this area, and then they continue up a little bit of a spiral staircase right here, which brings us on up to an incredibly detailed second floor. We have some plants right here, and of course, even more books. I definitely spared no material or anything like that when it came to putting bookshelves in here. And as you can see, we actually do have the floor working. What happens is the dripstone that's on the ceiling ends up kind of dripping down water. It transforms the mud right here into clay. And then we can scoop it up with our hands or with a shovel, take some dirt, put it back into mud, and eventually, or put it back into mud using this custom little stairway that we have right here, taking some bottles. And then eventually, over time, as you can tell, it turns into clay, which is really helpful. You know, I didn't end up needing to use bricks too much, but it's always nice to have the option, especially when you're playing in a 1,000 days world or something like that. And I think that if we do come down right here, yeah, we have our bottles right there, but we don't have any more dirt, I believe. So we won't be reharvesting it at the moment. It's kind of just for checking it out. Without any villagers on this island, and especially with all the rain that's pouring down from the sky, this island right here seems so lonely and desolate and kind of outcasted, but it's definitely kind of like a cool vibe at the same time, and I'm so happy with everything that we ended up making here in just 100 days. If we head over in this direction here, we'll come on the starter base. This area was what we ended up using for our home where we wanted to start for the 100 days, and as you can see, it has tons of different storage items. I don't know if I ended up keeping things in here or not. I'm kind of impressed that I actually seem to have cleared out the entire area right here, which is pretty impressive, and I completely forgot if this place had a second floor. I guess I ended up getting to doing that too, very similar to the bamboo farmhouse, and a little bit of extra storage that we have right here, some more pots and plants, and then some enchanted books that we have in the bookshelves right there. We can head on back down, and if we head to the left over in this area, we'll stumble across the third dock for this island. Over to the left right here, of course, we have extra detail. I love using peonies in the outline of so many builds. I think that you're definitely going to see that as a commonality throughout the kingdom here. But we have some potatoes on the side, and then we have our third custom dock right here. We have a bunch of watermelons that are outlining the area and some potatoes too. And then we have, of course, some extra barrels that don't have anything. They're just for decoration. And one thing that I always do, I make sure that I have some fences and a lantern, always 3 fences tall, and then a lantern on the right. And for whatever reason, For me, it kind of just makes a dock come to life. I wanted to make sure that I had a custom floor for this area, so we have some rooted dirt, and we have some deep slate, we have some mud right here, and then we have some dark oak logs and some dark oak planks, which really contributes to that medieval, mystical farming village in the islands in the middle of nowhere sort of vibe, which is kind of what I was going for when experimenting with these new wood types here, and definitely tons of different other building technicalities as well. However, before we leave this island and we head to the rest of the kingdom, I did want to show quickly that everything that we have in the kingdom is incredibly functional too. We can head up the ladder right here, and you can see that we have a really cool look. I guess the flag is getting in the way a little bit, but we have a really cool look at everything that we've made around here. And once again, 100 days to make everything right here. Not from the get-go, not from day one in this world. We already had materials and whatnot, but it totally was everything that I wanted it to be. I had a little bit of an idea in mind. I knew I wanted to have 3 different houses on this island right here, and then I wanted to have 2 different towers. But each one of these houses I did not plan in creative mode. I just went on the whim, and sometimes that's like the most fun way to play Minecraft in my personal opinion. But we can head away from our dock and our island right here. It feels like it could thunder at any moment in my personal opinion. And we'll jump back down into the drink. You can see that I actually happened to forget getting a boat to help us transport between these 2 areas. And I think part of the reason is because we ended up beating the game right here. And as you can see, I have rockets in my hand. And I think that I have my elytra on me as well. And so I've spent a lot of time once I could, because I've never really beaten Minecraft too many times together, and I got on the elytra that I wanted to fly around this world that I spent so long creating, and that's been really fun. But this rocket that I have in my hand is the last rocket of the world, and I don't think that I'm ever going to use it. At least that's not the plan, because we are done with our 1,000 days in Lycos, as you can maybe see right over there by the hot point. And this kingdom will always forever go down in history as one of my favorite builds ever, or at least my really learning how to become good at the game of Minecraft. And there's so much more that we could do, but this is a Terralith mod pack, and I want to update to Minecraft 1.21 soon. And so we're gonna move on after this kingdom, write it off on a good note. And as you can see right here, we have maybe one of the only not fully touched places, which is kind of nice, in the kingdom right here. The reason I say that is just because we have a couple of fences that don't have any lanterns or anything like that. And that's okay. I mean, we do have an iron farm, and so we could have, we have 31 lanterns right here, right? Like, we could go and detail everything up, but I'm just so happy with all of the progress that we'll see as we continue to get deeper into the kingdom. And, it's nice we have the occasional crafting table from my work over here, and one thing that's really important for me when building in any Minecraft world is making sure that the entire place is just incredibly outlined with crops. You can see that I have a couple of custom puddles right here that were definitely meant to continue all the farmland that we have going around in this area. But, I wasn't really using this path too much, and so just having it to use every once in a while and being able to enjoy all of the crops, no matter what time of day, no matter what time of day it is, and no matter what the weather looks like, I really do enjoy just kind of seeing everything that we've made as we start to make our way into the kingdom. I think that I am going to actually sleep for the night so that we can say goodbye to the rain, and we have our first official build of the Kingdom of Lycos. A nice little cabin that we have on the outskirts, and look how beautiful it looks. I think that it matches really perfectly with you can really see I love putting in crops. I love doing farming in Minecraft. And so we can continue. We have a little bit of a path along here, kind of a little bit of a campfire to show the out of line boundary, and a random composter for whatever reason too. But we do happen to have interiors for every single thing that we made in this kingdom. We can open the door right here, and I really do like the interior that we have right here. I know that we could have put a little bit more. These are really nice for lights, I think. And we have some storage. We don't really need too much. We have a couple of windows that we can use to go and check out everything else. And then if we flip up this trapdoor, you'll see that we have a little bit of extra storage, which is not I guess we finally have something in here which is not used. I think you can see I'm, at least in this world, I've been quite good about inventory management and making sure that everything is in one place, and you'll see the reason for that pretty quickly, I think. We have more campfires over here and tons of different crops as we go along. And as we get into the kingdom, things get way more detailed. I do promise you that. There's much more I could have done with this area, like filled in the out-jutting land masses that we have right here, but that's okay, and it still makes this entire area come to life in a cool, fantastical, medieval way, which is, once again, the point of this kingdom in the first place. And we have a cool little lining way with the stairs because we don't want to fall down and break our heads right there, and another campfire for some extra light. As we head along into this area, you'll see that we have a cool custom cave. When I came here, the vines were only around here for the first time, but clearly that's changed. And if we head around into this area, you'll see that we have a massive cave that we could end up going and exploring, but I never really ended up doing that. When I was building the path to expand our kingdom, I came across this cave and I looked down into it and I was like, okay, at first I definitely at least need something to light up this area so that no mobs gonna end up coming. But I think that at the same time, if I leave this place untouched, it's gonna look really cool at the same time. As we continue along into this area, we have a custom bridge right here, which, could look a little bit different, but I think that I just wanted to switch up the color palette and start implementing a little bit of deep slate as we left the kingdom, because we didn't really use too much deep slate in the builds that you'll see in just a second here as we officially get close to the kingdom. You'll see that the paths get even more detailed, even more congested as we head up to my favorite build I think that I've ever made, definitely the biggest build that I've ever made, no question about that, our cathedral, our mega cathedral in the kingdom of Lycos. We have this incredible tall flower with different textures. We have the peonies right here, and then we have our rose bushes, and then we have something that's really cool that took a very long time to make that we'll head and see in just a moment or so. And oh my gosh, I've never seen that before. The amount of times that I've walked through this kingdom, and I never noticed that we still have one piece of scaffolding on the roof. That's so funny, especially, I thought I've taken plenty of thumbnails and whatnot of this place, but I guess I happened to miss that. And we'll talk about this place plenty more in a little bit, but our crop fields continue along into the wonderful kingdom, and you'll see more of it as we continue to walk in. But I do have to keep my render distance a little bit lower so that we have things as smooth as we can while we do this tour right here. We have Lycos, which is this kingdom right here, and then the island that we were just at is the town of Hue. And if you become a member of the channel, there's another members only kingdom, which I will not be showing you, which does officially happen to be a part of this 1000 days, but that is for members only. And if you do like my videos, I do encourage you to consider becoming a member of the channel. But as we talked about a little bit earlier, things are already starting to become so much more detailed. We have these awesome custom lampposts right here where we have a grindstone, we have some stone bricks, and then some signs around it, a couple of fences, and then some trapdoors and a sign around it too. And it gives the perfect just atmosphere for what I was looking for in particular with this kingdom. And man, as you can see, it all around the same sort of design, it really all starts to come together. And you can see right here, we have our blacksmith's cottage. This is episode 3, the first real big episode of the Hardcore Kingdom. And if I'm being honest, although most of the designs, pretty much all of the designs in this kingdom are my own, this one is not. I can't remember the exact tutorial I followed. It's in episode 3. I definitely shouted that person out, and this build is such a cool looking build, as you can see. And we used a couple of differences. I used different woods than he ended up using in his build, but I saw this build online and I was like, you know what? I have to have this in this world. I have to have it on the hill right here. I know exactly where it's supposed to go, and so we ended up putting it in. And thanks so much for the design too. I think that we can start off with this probably one of my favorite interiors that we have. Although I guess at this point in the series, I think that at episode 3 we really didn't have enough books. I guess we may have had enough leather, but maybe just not enough paper in order to put these guys. Just kidding. We have bookshelves here. I might not have a response for that one, but but we have a cool counter with some blue stained glass right here, and we have a white banner. We have the cool dude, my favorite painting in Minecraft, and then one of my favorite things about this build that I really wanted to implement, and I didn't know how to do it myself, was have a little bit of a crops area and load a little awning outside just for the aesthetic. Although this is meant to be a starter base, I wanted to make it our blacksmith cottage. We can head up right here where, once again, we have a wonderful view. I know we can't see everything yet, but it makes everything that we can see look a whole ton better at the moment. We can head inside and we have our second floor right here with just some storage, which of course is not used whatsoever. And then that's funny, I never really realized that we had a cat painting right there, but we have a couple of blacksmith tool station blocks just to show that this is the toolsmiths, although we don't officially have a villager in here for that. And we can head up this kind of cool water chute right here over to the 3rd floor, which I really like too. I forgot this is supposed to be my little meditation room. I think I mentioned something like that in a video. And we have tons of storage once again right here, and some acacia doors, and gosh, again, just a wonderful look at that incredible build that we have over there. We have an item frame with some iron in it too, and I'm surprised that we can actually open that chest, but that's pretty much it, except for if we head up and open this door right here. We have such just a cool look, and I think that just really quickly, although I'm not going to be able to move anything real quick, you can see that this is definitely one of my favorite views of the entire kingdom. And it makes sense. It makes sense why, right? Having that render distance up really makes all the difference. I wish I could keep it up as high as that. We'll put it up to 10 for the moment, and so that we can see a little bit of our wool farm. So we can head out away from here, and we might as well take the stairs on down so that we can go and check out even more of the kingdom. This entire stone area that we have right here, all of these stairs that are going down this custom, we had a really steep hill, and so I needed to do my best to make sure that we could get something that really looked cool, and we have that extra height that comes around this area, and I like the extra little texture that we have outlining the wall and the crops that we have right here with the spruce trapdoors. We have some roseberries, or some sweet berries over here, and we're starting to really get into the heart of our kingdom now. We have some cool custom banners. I mean, this was my first time ever trying custom banners, and I think that I could have done a little bit better. There's a couple of other more cool looking banners around, and when possible, I definitely like to keep my villagers out and about, except for the first time. This may sound hypocritical of me, but the first time that I've ever kept villagers in a place is in here, and we have an iron golem friend just to protect them all. But this is where I've been doing a lot of my villager tradings, and we have lots of awesome books in that area too, and it really it works out. I think that we'll head to sleep for the night, and then we'll continue on with our tour as the moon arises right ahead of us right there. And this place is really cool looking too. It's my own design, the villager breeder house, and as you can see, We have our railings going right there, and the idea behind this place is that we can head on down, and I know it might not look the best. We actually happen to have a cave right around this area, if you can hear that, but we can take away, might as well show you all real quickly. You can take away that dirt block, and then you'll notice that we have all of our villagers in this area right here. And they happen to have some really good trades too. Like we have efficiency 3 from Susan right there. We have some diamond pickaxes and that sort of thing. And it looks really nice, I would say, especially with all of the windows and the plants going outside. It's too bad that I wasn't more efficient in finding them a good way to go to and fro from the kingdom. But it's okay. This really served us well, and I wanted to mix up the color palette a little bit. And so, as you can see, we have tons of acacia right here. We have our acacia trapdoors, or we have our jungle trapdoors, and we have acacia stairs and slabs right here. And then, as I'm saying, I really love using the 2 tall flowers just to outline the entire area. As we continue along this area right here, we have a couple of other villager houses, which, I didn't really do too much with, except for I think that I just did the bare minimum to make sure that they looked pretty. And I think that this banner, although it's not that much better than the example I showed earlier, shows that I think slowly and surely get a little bit better at making banners over time. We're not going to head to the cathedral yet. We're going to walk our way around it. We can head back down, and I just love the ups and downs and a little bit of like mountain, rugged, terraced terrain that we have going around the entire area. And so to continue on with the tour, we can head over to a couple of very, very small houses. And I tell you, in this 1,000 days, I made sure to do every single interior. We have tons of item frames right here, some pots and some oak saplings right here, a stone cutter, just the basics here. And it's outlined. We ended up using mangrove wood right here. And then we have some deep slate with the roof. And are you kidding? I can't believe it starts raining 2 times. I haven't been recording for that long, y'all. So we're gonna have to continue on. F in the chat if you've made it to this point in the video and you're like, oh my god, Slip got rained on a second time. And one thing that I started getting to do later on, as I learned how to build a little bit better, is I ended up putting pots with saplings or flowers kind of in little places on the roof line, and I ended up getting that one from Wax Fraud, who's an awesome hardcore Minecrafter. If you haven't checked him out, I highly recommend you doing so, and I think that this banner pattern right here may be my least favorite out of all of them. We have the line right here, which completely just juts in to the orange weird shape, and it doesn't look good, especially with the brown right there. And so going on into the next kingdom, for sure, we're going to have to make sure that we fix it up. And so we can continue on in this area right here. We're going to kind of do a U, as that's how the village operates. And we have a very similar looking, this is a custom house as well, with the same mangrove stairs and outer lining right here. And then we have deep slate and a nice little awning that we have kind of to hold in our flowers and make sure that they don't get rained on too much, with just a couple of fences and then a couple of campfires as well. And as we head inside, you'll see that once again, I think I like this interior a little bit better. We have, once again, more item frames and whatnot, and some more bookshelves, which I just love them, as you can tell. I think they're kind of new to me, and they're definitely still a newer addition to the game, and they make such a big difference in my personal opinion. I guess we do have a bit of a chest monster right here, which does have different materials. They are organized, but I think that some of the last things that I did around this kingdom right here when upgrading it was these houses right here and just kind of filling in the area. So it makes sense that we have tons of different materials over here. And we have our third of the custom houses that I made in our village right here. This is the biggest of the 3, as you can tell, and this is supposed to be our meeting area. This is the war room. And maybe, once again, having a dark oak trapdoor and a table, maybe that just gives me the war room sort of vibe. And besides that, we have tons of different barrels right here, and I assume that these are where we keep all the armaments and all of the guns and the swords and all of that sort of stuff. And we have a little bit of some food right here on the table, just in case any of the soldiers need to fuel up their tummy before going and doing their duties. And I guess I happened to miss just one seed right there, but that's gonna happen. It's gonna have to be all right. We can head along in this area right here to the back of the house, and you can see that this is actually the first sailboat that I ended up making in this world. And I followed a design by Lord Docker for this one, but then I customized it and I made it my own. And this was really my first foray, my first foray into building sailboats. And I think it looks really cool. I definitely wanted to use tons of different colors in it. We have some cherry wood, which is maybe one of the only times that I ended up using it in the 1000 days. And I think that it looks really cool over in this area. And so as we continue along with our sailboat on the left, and then our blacksmith's cabin on the right, you can see that we have some more potato fields over in this area, and we have a custom bridge with tons of buttons on it too. Of course, we have our custom lamppost, and one thing that I did in this area that I didn't do around the entire kingdom was I put an iron bar, and then I put a pot with a plant on top. And I'm not exactly sure why I ended up doing it, but it looks kind of cool in this one area here. Or at least I like it. Of course, we have more campfires that's very on par, very on theme with the kingdom that we have. And then we have our second of the bridges. And both of these bridges, for whatever reason, they remind me of like a World War II German military bridge. And we'll head down over here, and then I'll show you why. We have a very funky build that I ended up making. We'll come back down in this area. We kind of got to do a loop of the kingdom here. Once again, we have even more plants over here, more lampposts, and one thing that I think is really cool is kind of went all out in making a custom little lead into this cave right here, and we have the custom lamppost too. And yeah, we never ended up really going in here, but it is lit up just in case any mobs started spilling out or anything like that. And it's just a kingdom is all about the little things, right? It's all about having the extra lamppost on a pumpkin, or, sneaking in a pot with a flower right there, making sure that every little bit with coarse dirt and the 2 tall flowers and everything just comes to life the more that you pay attention to the small details. Which, talking about small details, this is definitely one of my favorite builds that I've ever made. And this one, I do think I made in creative mode beforehand. As of recent, I've been really trying to become quite a good builder myself, and I think that it's much easier to fumble around and come up with things that you really like when you have the opportunity to do it in creative mode first. And we can come around to my favorite dock that I've ever made, which is with mangrove trapdoors right here, and then we have some spruce and some dark oak slabs right here, and then tons of other trapdoors. Once again, we go up 3. One, the lantern is on the right, and to spice it up a little bit on this one right here, we have a mangrove trapdoor on top as well. But as we step back, and if I zoom in a little bit and zoom out, for whatever reason, these bridges, they remind me of like a World War II German bridge, and I don't know if I'm alone on that, but you'll have to let me know. For the walls right here, we have a bunch of different stone bricks and then stone brick walls. Every once in a while, I think kind of just at the corners, and it really gives that extra little contrast between the land and the water, and helps fit this area into the environment. It took a very long time to terraform this entire area, and as the rain finally goes away, we can take an official look at the wool farm. You can see that we once again went with our 2 tall flowers with the rose bushes and with our peonies here in order to give a nice texture and just the perfect aesthetic to this area around here. And we have some custom bushes. I'm not totally happy with them, but The idea was to have a bit of an awning coming around, and I guess I can't really get through. Let me try to step back and give you all a bit of a better look, but it's so densely populated with flowers that you can't even see that we have dark stained glass right here for our windows, and that's a theme throughout the entire wool farm. I really wanted to use them. I had just made a prismarine farm, and it turned out really, really cool, I think. Along with our custom pathways right here throughout the entire kingdom, actually, we ended up going with mossy stone bricks, with cobblestone, with stone, with andesite, and then I think something else too. Maybe a little bit, maybe one other thing in other places in the kingdom. But if you're ever looking for a really good medieval looking path, there's no better way to go than with this block palette right here, in my personal opinion. As we head over to the left area right here, you can see that we have a couple of custom ponds. We have one over here too, and they make all of the difference in this area. This area really did not, I mean, this entire, everything that you'll see, this kingdom, it really did not look that great when I showed up. And we've put tons of time into terraforming this area and just really making it look incredible. So this area over here, which we'll explore in a second, is the boundary line of our kingdom. And you can see just all the difference that it's gonna make. But for our wool farm right here, you can see that we have tons of mangrove, we have some crimson trapdoors right here, and we step back, just what a cool texture that we have for this build, in my personal opinion. We have tons of vines and bushes that are over here, and trapdoors, and I say, why don't we head inside? You guys already know the memo when it comes to all of the crops and the campfires and the too tall flowers. The big thing here is really the stained glass, and we really started getting into a deep slate roof here too, with deep slate tiles and deep slate bricks, as you can see, and it really looks wonderful. We can head inside and you'll see that once again we have a wonderful interior, and then every single one of these chests that we have right here is going to have a different color of wool, and this has been really helpful, and there's a big reason that we had to make this farm, and we're going to get to it probably a little bit closer to the end of the tour. But it's definitely one of my favorite things that I've ever done in Minecraft. And you can see that we can continue along the entire area. We have some lanterns to light up the area, and we have some potted plants to give some extra aesthetic to the area too. And once again, in every single one of these, we have sheep. Not sheep, we have wool. Except for whatever reason, the pink sheep, maybe given its rarity in the game, I don't know what it is, the pink sheep gives way less wool. This farm has worked for a very long time. Maybe we just haven't been in the area, or that could be it. I'm not sure, but we can head up to the second floor, which has my second to favorite interior out of everything in the kingdom. This is supposed to be like a hangout area where you and all of your friends can chill out and maybe play a game on the table or enjoy a drink together, a juice, or whatever it be. And then we have another little hangout area right here just in case you want some privacy, or if the party gets a little bit too big from the common area here, then you can move upstairs. And over also in the second area right here, we have our cooking area. You can see all of the attention to detail that I really put into kind of making this place unique with its story. We have our grilling area. It's got some veggies right here, and then it's got some steak over in this area as well. And then of course our flowers. We have a great look into the rest of the kingdom, and I do love having crimson trapdoors everywhere. It really matches the palette for in not only this build, but so many different builds if you're using spruce and dark oak in particular, right? Spruce, dark oak, you can have some mangrove in there, and then you add the trapdoors, crimson trapdoors. It makes all the difference in the world. And we have our third floor right here, kind of just a storage, maybe like an attic, a little lookout area. This is a bougie house, and so I wanted to make sure that we had a third floor. Don't bougie mansion houses have third floors? So you can head on down, we can get away from the sheep sounds, and that is this was a huge ordeal for me. This was a massive project. It took a long time to get the wool that we needed, and you'll see why in just a little bit, but by far, and terraforming this area, it took such a long time, but I am so happy with the end product, and if I'm being honest, I'm just as happy with the end product going in here. If we were to expand the kingdom, we would expand over into this direction here, where with the Terralith mod, we have this cool fall area that's heading up on the river, and you can just see how beautiful this is and how lovely of an expansion it would be for the kingdom. But you have to call a boundary line at some point so that you can move on to other projects and whatnot. And so we have, once again, we have our stone bricks and we have our stone brick walls right here. And we have my favorite wagon, by far my favorite wagon of the 1000 days. It's mangrove trapdoors and mangrove stairs and slabs and some spruce signs right here for some extra decoration. And it looks so cute, and it matches perfectly with the house and the environment. And I know that it might be weird that it's blocked off, but I think it just works really perfectly here. And so yes, I'm very happy with this area, and especially with the wheat fields just kind of leading into, you can see how nice it would be to explore this area. And right over here we have some little storage area, and then we have another custom pond. And with all of my custom ponds, I ended up making sure to use kind of slabs for everything. And then I have some lilacs right here and some peonies as well, going on theme. And then we have some leaves in here too, just to give that extra little feeling, I would say. Over here, this was a little bit of a project. This stairway, you can see that the slope of the hill is quite steep, and so just trying to find a way to make it work. It took a little bit of trial and error, although it gives a wonderful view of the rest of the kingdom. And we have some iron bars right here, and we have some pots, and then our lanterns, of course. And then if we continue up into this area, we're gonna meet my love-hate relationship with this playthrough. It is our iron farm. I love this place now, but I think it took like 700 or 800 days to fully get this guy up and operational. And man, I was pulling out my hair the entire time. But we have a little bit of a cabin where we can store all of the iron. And I mean, this thing really produces, once we finally got it to work, all of the iron that we could ever need. We made this place extra beautiful with tons of different crops. We have potatoes and flowers everywhere. And once again, going with a similar wall design right here. I think this is where I actually came up with the idea. And so we don't have the stone bricks right here, but we just have the stone brick walls. And I was like, you know what? I think this is how I want to outline the kingdom. And then we have Eclipse, who I've actually forgotten about. It's been such a long time since I've come out and hung out in the kingdom. And this Eclipse was named by Break the Net, which is a huge fan of the kingdom, a great buddy of mine, and we communicate back and forth. He's also got a YouTube channel worth checking out. But this right here, this is Eclipse. We have our iron golem burning as the sun sets right here, and she is a black stallion, and she's just the best. My first real horse of a long-term playthrough, and so she'll always stand out in my heart, although I'll be having a new friend coming in a new upcoming series in just a couple weeks' time. This area right here is the AFK area, where I can open up, and then if I just want to sit and wait to get some iron, I can hang out right here. No mobs can get me or anything like that. And then if I flip open the trapdoor, if we ever have some garbage, anything that we don't need, we have our composters right there, and we have a lava pit right here just so that we can get rid of all the spare inventory, like the seeds and the dirt if we don't need it, all of those little things. And we have even more crops going over here in our cherry forest, which I definitely wanted to make sure that I could go and use the cherry biome a little bit. Hardcore Season 2 took place solely in the cherry biome, and I had such a blast with it. But as you can see right here, we have our iron golem death pit. I don't know how to call it better. And the entire iron farm is surrounded with stained glass right here. And so you can see why I kind of needed the stained glass farm with the prismarine shards. And we needed it in order to get the iron farm running. And then we just had so many extra that I wanted to use it for the wool farm over there. As you can see, as the iron golems die, as they burn away in here, it is a very successful farm. And once we had it up and running, we definitely did not need to do anything about iron after, but I struggled for such a long time getting this thing up and running that it was almost a little bit too far too gone by the time that it was up and running. But that's okay, part of the process, and I would have made this look a little bit better than cobblestone, but I was just so done with building this thing that I needed to be done. And so it works. It has a pretty area around it, and that's all that matters for me. And before we go down to explore the rest of the kingdom, I did want to mention real quick that this area right over here is actually the lead-in shaft to our Spider XP farm. And we're not going to go down there today. It is decorated, and I do like the design of it, but there's so much to show you in a 1000 Days kingdom. And so we're just going to continue on with everything that we have above ground, and I hope that you're okay with that. But we're going to continue to head on down this way, past our custom ponds, and past even more custom farmland right here. We have some extra pumpkins that we wanted to have for just a little bit of a mix-up to this area. As you can see in the intro area, the walk up into the kingdom, it can be a lot to just have wheat fields by itself. So having just little things like a pot with a plant right here, having a campfire in the middle, even if you're not going to really fill an area with a build or a small little accent piece or anything like that, it can be really nice to just give an extra little bit of texture here and there, in my personal opinion. And so we'll continue on down. As we talked about earlier, we have our custom kind of cliff walkway overlooking this pond that leads into the cave. And one thing that you can't really access from our bridge is this little awning area. We have a couple of them throughout the kingdom. As you can see, we have one right there, but this awning right here is an extra little bit of texture along with the docking area that we have around it too. And I like the look, but there's no real access point. There's no real way to get to it. But for the most part, this kingdom is very functional as well. We have a little bit of a sweet berry farm right here. And then this funky build is just something that I wanted to make in like episode 2 or episode 3 or something like that. And I wanted to build something, but I didn't know what. And I was always going to chop this down, but I decided not to. It has its own place in the world, and it's kind of like like a little meditation area, or just a nice place to enjoy the views, enjoy the look at the rest of the kingdom. And so we can head in here. This was the big point for episode 2 of our 1000 days. And as you can see, it is a custom crop farm. We're not going to press the button because I don't want to reharvest the crops right now. But if we press this button right here, some water would come from a bunch of dispensers back there. It would wipe out the entire field of crops. And then we could come into our barrel right here, and we could reharvest, and kind of, it takes away half of the process when it comes to harvesting crops and makes things a lot more efficient, in my personal opinion. And we have a really cool, wacky looking area right here. This is a Duty Boy sugarcane farm. I followed his tutorial. He's a great small Minecraft YouTuber as well. We've known each other for a couple of years or so, and if you need building tutorials, he is definitely a wonderful resource to have. But as you can see, this is a sugarcane farm right here, and we have a little bit of sugarcane and all of the different chests, and we have a minecart with a hopper that's spinning around. And the idea is that when the sugarcane gets up to where the observer is, when it's 3 blocks tall, then the observer gets triggered, and all of the sugarcane ends up getting wiped out, and it's collected up by the minecart with the hopper right here. And it's cool, and it's definitely been really helpful. We have plenty of paper, but we just don't have any gunpowder. We don't have any gunpowder farm, and we don't have any creepers around. This is a lit up area, So that's the reason that we're on our last ever rocket. And as you can see, I made a little bit of an indent into the cave, which we have definitely used plenty of. We have a couple of farms down here. We have our prismarine farm, and we have collected plenty of stone, plenty of andesite along the path for this area too. We have another way to get to the Spider XP farm from down in this area down there. And I'm glad that we have a little bit of an outlook because that lava just looks so cool, I think, spilling on down. And as you can see, for the interior for this cave right here, I wanted to make it feel cave-like. So I ended up mining out this entire area, and then I went back in with some dripstone and with some moss and with some leaves on the ceilings and with some wooden planks that are hanging by chains and floating glass for whatever reason. And so I think that it also shows how much I've really grown as a Minecraft builder over this last 1,000 days in the kingdom as well. And so we can head over here. We have one of the only parrot farms in the entire kingdom. And we have, once again, one of those awesome towers that we saw in the island. And this is actually the first tower of the entire playthrough, and it happens to have my favorite banners as well. These are faded out. They're orange, blue, and white. Just as you can see, like, our tent is here, and as is the theme for a lot of our kingdom with the sails as well. And so we have a sweet berry farm over in the distance right here. And then once again, we can, of course, head up our tower. Everything is functional in this kingdom. We can head on out, and you can see, I'll put on render distance. Once again, this is by far one of my favorite views of the entire kingdom. Just everything happens to look so good, although it's so framey. You can see everything fills in. You can see all of the work that we've done, everything that you can get done in 1,000 days. We'll flip back up to 10, and we can head back down because there's still a whole ton more. We haven't even gotten some of the best parts of the entire kingdom. Speaking of which, this is an early game build, but it's a completely custom cave. As you can see, I have cobblestone up here, and then we have stone brick stairs and whatnot, and tons of vines going up, and I just knew that I needed to make this wall look a ton better. We have a very dangerous overlook at the rest of the cave with the lava falling down from this area in the wall right there. But as you can see, this place houses a massive nether portal. We have some obsidian as part of our awning area right here. Then we can open our door, head past the lava, and we're met with our massive nether portal. And I mean, this thing is real big. We have a bit of a storage area in the background with some amethyst and some copper blocks, just to make it cool and give an extra reason to come back here. And if you haven't already, you should maybe, not to throw that in there, but this might be worth considering. It's hard to speak for such a long time, man. I don't know how Twitch streamers and commentators do it, just talking. I can feel my voice getting raspy already, but that is our custom nether portal right into the cave, right over our awesome, huge caving area. And gosh, it just looks so cool. This right here is going to be from, I think it may be from episode 1, from the very beginning of this kingdom. And I think that's probably part of the reason that I kept this bridge. As you can see, we do have a path to get along, but I just wanted to keep this history in the world. We have some calcite and some orange wool, some blue wool, I think light blue wool, and then some white wool on the ends right here. And I just wanted to build something once again. I was so excited to start the series, and I just went with the blocks that I had and went on the whim. And it's a very weird looking bridge. I think I could do a whole ton better, but it's part of the story of this kingdom, so I decided to keep it on in here. And once again, we have a nice little awning area. We have stripped jungle wood right here, and then we have spruce trapdoors. And I ended up doing a ton of work making this lake area fit in with the environment. I probably spent 2 or 3 hours outlining this area, putting in these different wooden terraced areas, and it was a lot of work, but this area, when I showed up to it, it needed the work. Trust me, it needed the work. So we ended up we ended up doing the work kind of weird as we head over here. But again, this build, that cathedral is what it's all about. But we can head over into our starter area. This is from episode 1, the only episode of this playthrough that is here on the second channel where this 1000 days walkthrough is coming through. It's part of the playlist of the 1000 days that I ended up switching up onto my main channel. I liked what I made so much with this starter base, and I liked the potential of the area that we had. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this on my main channel. I'm going to make my hardcore playthrough. This is going to be the real deal. It's going to be the real thing. And it all started with this area. And for most of the kingdom, this was all Podzol right here, and it looked so ugly. And so I'm glad that during the last video, we ended up coming and making all the pathways, and putting in all of these bricks and whatnot, and it just makes all the difference in the world. And one thing that an Enderman must have taken this, and I swear, an Enderman must have taken that. We have our horrible enchanting area where we have a little bit of lapis just in case we need it, but I always wanted to make a specific build for enchanting, and I just never ended up getting along to it. All of these vines that we have right here are custom, of course. And if we head inside, we have so much nostalgia. So many good memories and moments in here. This is our first ever giant iron chest piece. I forget what's special about this hoe, but there's something special about it, and I know I talked about it in the video. And then we cleared out the entire area, kind of like a waiting room area right here. Although I guess I happened to miss one piece of bamboo, and I love dogs, so I just loved that painting right there too. Kind of nice and cozy. This is where we did all of our brewing before the end fight. I never moved our brewing area. And then a little bit of extra storage that we have right here as we head up to our bedroom, which I only really slept in a couple of times. I was hoping to see if we had anything in the furnace, but I guess we don't. And a little bit of carpet just to spice up the area. You can kind of indoor-outdoor vibe looking out, which I really do enjoy. That's really it. It was cutesy, it was quaincy, and that starter house, it has a sweet spot in my house, because if I hadn't made that, and if I hadn't decided to keep on going with this playthrough, I would have never made it as far as I did. And 1000 days is definitely the farthest that I've ever gotten. No question about that. We have our first ever starter farm from episode 1 as well, which I have never touched. It's the only time in my entire life where I alternated crops. We have potatoes and then carrots, more potatoes, carrots, and some beetroot, which you won't see a lot of around the kingdom, but we do happen to have some right here just in case we need it. We have some more sweet berries over in this area too, and then a little bit of a dock, which is replacing our first ever sugarcane farm, which if you ever see episode 1, you'll see that in this area, before anything was changed, we had a sugarcane farm right here. But it had to go in order to make it the aesthetic that we wanted. Before we head into my favorite bit of the hardcore kingdom, 1000 days, we're actually gonna scoop up our bed so that we don't have any problems going forward. And we're gonna head on through to our barn area. Again, the outlook of our cathedral is just so cool looking in the background. And we have a place where we have some sheep right here, and we have some cows, and this place is where Eclipse was located. But she really hasn't spent too much time over there. And then I like the arches that we have going throughout the entire kingdom, or the entire barn right here, and a couple of different wood choices as well. We have some crimson wood, which I wanted to switch in there. And yeah, I think it looks swanky. This was the place of our first ever watermelon farm. One of my favorite builds, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, which is the windmill. We continue along this area. We filled everything in with crops, although this entire area was where I pretty much felled all of my trees for most of the 1000 days. We have even more watermelons over here. And then one of my favorite builds by far is our cozy seaside cottage. You can see we have leaves that are outlining the roof. It's deep slate lined, of course. And then it perfectly fits the side of the water next to our ship right here. We have an Enderman who's taken another block somehow. And then we did do the interior here, except for whatever reason, I always decided to keep it has a grass floor. And I don't know why I happened to do that, but it is what it is. And we have some orange banners right here, which really gives a little bit of extra love. And I don't know why this is like this, but it looks bad and we're not going to change it right now. And then one thing that I totally forgot about the interior here is I forgot to put that one window in. Those 2 window panes. And it is what it is. The seaside cottage will always live in infamy in my mind for that. And we have the dog painting once again. We can continue along in this area to definitely one of my favorite builds of our 1000 days. We have the Carpe Diem, which was named by Dino Explorer or Dino Scholar on YouTube, and it just looks so wonderful. It is a medieval ship. It's not even medieval. It's from around the 1400s, the 15th century, when they were exploring the New World. I'm sure that many of you have heard of the saying, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and this was one of the types of ships at the time that went to go and explore the New World. And so I kind of made this to show that, all right, we're going to expand the kingdom, or at least that's what it meant to me in terms of the lore that we have for this world. And over here, you can see that wonderful texture that we have with our trapdoors hanging off the signs. This is a completely my own build. And we come around to the back and it just looks really nice there too. We have a mini cactus farm that we ended up using every once in a while, especially to get green dye. And then a secret little area right here, which I decorated just for the fun of it. Just a little bit of a cave in case you happen to follow along the path here. And it's nice. Yeah, a world, once again, is all about the little things. We have a little bit of a storage area right here. And I did actually, I might as well show you real quick. This ship is actually, it is not just for show. It is a functional piece of the kingdom. We head down into the water right here. You can hear the sound of villagers. We have the inside of our ship right here. I can't remember. I don't think we can climb to the top, but that does not matter because we can open the door. And here we have 2 different farmer villagers, which is great. We were also going to have 2 extra, an armorer and a toolsmith here, but something happened and they got out of the ship at the last moment, and it was really hard. I had to transport these villagers hundreds of blocks and then into a ship on the water and into their cell from way down where the villager breeder is, if you remember that from earlier. So just imagine how long of a distance that is. But this build it's a functional piece. It's a farm. And sometimes your Minecraft world is also about having things to come back to, right? Like giving yourself a reason to go and explore something in a world. And this boat, for sure, is a come back to item just to get emeralds, and then I can live all the memories of the experience and enjoy that. And it's totally just a blast. We have a secret little area right here, which is not worth showing. I just needed a little bit of extra cobblestone at some point, and so I needed to dig into the wall quickly, and so that's what I ended up doing. And once again, we have a couple of cactuses over here just for some extra decoration. This was the only bamboo area that we had in the entire kingdom before we went to episode 6 and ended up making that automatic bamboo farm. So as you can tell, besides that area, or that one little build in this area down over here, we really did not use any bamboo for the series. Right here, this bridge is from episode 2, I believe, and it might be one of my favorite bridges that I've ever made. This is the second bridge I've ever made, yeah, and compared to that one over in this direction, this bridge just makes a world of a difference, and it perfectly goes across our river, and again, it matches the theme with the orange and the blue carpets that we have going on too. And yeah, I think it works really well. And this was the original spot right here where we were going to have our nether portal, but instead I decided to go with the area that I showed you earlier and make this into a little bit of a treasure area. I don't think I actually put any treasure in here, but it was all for aesthetic and just to fill in this area instead of kind of, instead of filling it all in, it was already hollow, like a cave like that. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to make this work somehow. And right here, we have definitely one of my favorite builds too. This is the windmill. It is not my own design. It is by Gold Robin, and I would use this design again and again and again. It's just so aesthetic, I think. As you can see, this part of the kingdom is also very good looking, thinking of aesthetic, and we have a massive wheat field spanning all along in this area. A mix of stone items with some mossy as well. For the walls right here, just such a cool accent with the white painted glass and the wool right there in order to make the perfect windmill design. Gosh, Gold Robin is a master, I think. But this place, of course, has an interior. It used to be the place where we housed a farmer villager. And then for a long period of time, this was also where we held our crops too, as you can see with those potatoes. And so tons of storage over here. And then we have a lot of hay just to show the theme for the windmill. It was supposed to be a wheat windmill, if that makes sense. And so we can actually head to the front of the windmill too. We can get upside and we can actually go both ways, right? But I don't know why I went around. And yeah, we can actually look out at the rest of the kingdom too. And I think it just looks so cool. I think that we'll close the door. We can use our elytra to fly down to something that is so nice to have. And as a part of episode 2 as well, I ended up making this custom house as well. Kind of has like a curved slanted roof, and it's really just for aesthetic as well. But of course we happen to go with an interior as well. Very, very sparsely furnished. But once I came back to this and I was like, oh, I could make it better. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make it better. I like it how it is. And we have another storage area right over here. And then if we head to the top floor, we have another storage area too. But my personal favorite spot is up here. I made sure I wanted to make sure that I could come up and just get an open, wide look of everything that we've built. And it's totally worth it. So it might not be my favorite build in the world, but the view that it provides based on its location in the kingdom is 100% what I was going for here. We have, once again, another tower right here, which we can head inside, of course, in another path. That'd be the 4th time we've seen it. Oh, we can quickly, I guess we have all the time in the world. We're gonna fly down to the center of town, and this place is completely terraformed. We have another free villager over in this area, but this entire center with the custom ponds, this took a long time, and it's totally worth it. And I love the custom pond that we have right here. I think we could have done more, but at the point of when I was getting ready to be done with this project and I was running out of time, I couldn't think of anything. We have our fabric waystone right here, which we could take to get to the member kingdom if we wanted to, or then to the portal room where the end dragon is, but we're not going to do that, and we're going to head to a very important area. We have 2 smelting areas, tons of furnaces right in here, and we have even more furnaces right in here. I'm surprised that we don't have anything in here, actually. This area has been used a whole ton during the Let's Play, and this area right here, this build is one of my favorite interiors. It's a lava farm. As you can see, we have dripstone, and it drips lava into the cauldrons right here, and it gives us an infinite smelting source. And yeah, I just love this build. I make it pretty much as soon as possible in every single world that I'm in, and it saves me from having to get coal or waste chopping wood and make charcoal or anything like that. And it's so nice. And we have some bookshelves over here, and I love the dark theme. It matches with the black that we have with the cauldron, and with the eeriness with the lava, as you can see in there. And so yeah, it's really cool looking. That's just a villager's house. I just need to double check. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to my favorite part of the kingdom, our Megath Cathedral. I think what we're gonna do is we're going to head inside. We'll head inside first. One of the coolest interiors that I've ever made, by far. Look how it's just so menacing and inspiring and astounding, in my personal opinion. We have a leftover crafting table right there, I guess. But if we head inside, we have a massive storage area with a custom floor right here, which looks like you could just sink into the void. And man, it looks so cool. We have stained glass everywhere on our cathedral, and as you can see, I wanted to have fun with the warped woods and make this just so mystical in here. And so the designs that I came up with, I love them so much. And we have all of the different materials we could ever need in the world. I'm not going to bore you through all of the different materials that we have in the chests, but for the most part, they're all on this side here. We had plenty of space. All of our really good items are in this area here. 16 diamonds at the end of the 1,000 days, and then we have wood and other nether items here. But besides that, we have so much extra space that we could have used. We just didn't have the time. And I didn't really get to doing too much for the second floor, which it just is what it is. You can see that this is unfinished, but I didn't really know what else to do in here besides make another smelting area, and I didn't want to have everything in one building. And so I decided to put it all off here. But I do think we can head up to the third floor, which really doesn't have anything. You can see once again, the stained glass that we have everywhere, but a really cool look. I missed the trapdoor as well, whatever. But as you can see, the real shine for the cathedral is on the first floor, and it all looks so cool. And bookshelves around everywhere too, as you can tell. It's perfect. We have a little bit of a custom garden outlining it, and then, it's kind of hard to see, but we have all of the different colors of stained dye just going all around to give that extra church vibe. I think definitely one of the most technical and impressive things I might pat myself on the back about the cathedral is that we have so many different layers of arches going in. This wall was 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even a fifth, 5 layers of arches in order to get this design and the texture going on so many different floors, as you can see, and just making sure that everything was done right. It was very impressive. And as you can see, we have once again tons of too tall flowers everywhere and some of the better banners, because of course we had to make this place look good. And I think I might have had the most of this banner pattern, so we wanted to make sure it was the same banner going around every little place in the kingdom. And I spared no time with doing all the extra decorations too. We have hay bales, and we have railings and campfires and too talls and bushes and trapdoors on the sides, and over in this area right here it continues. You can look on up to such an incredible looking build just all the way around the entire kingdom with more too tall flowers leading up to the wheat, and then just I love when our blacksmith's cottage is in the background. The entire thing just screams attention to detail, and that's very true because I spent so much time, whether it be bone mealing, taking away little pieces of grass, making sure that this place looked exactly how I wanted it to. And last, but definitely not least, the reason that we needed all of the wheat in our kingdom here was for our massive chunk in our kingdom. And I'm not going to fly down, although there's actually something secret at the bottom here. And the reason is it takes 3 elytras to get down here. But we have mined out an entire chunk in Minecraft. And then we made it into a rainbow. That wool farm that was all the way down there was in order to make sure, and it's actually a slime chunk too, as y'all can see, which is good and bad because it can actually be really scary to come down here. But all 16 colors of wool were placed from that wool farm. It took forever to get. It didn't take that long to build this, and it took forever to dig it. But the end product, with 4 actually little things in the green dye that you can't see because it's out of spawn range, that should give you an idea of how deep this is. You can see, you can't even see something that's at the bottom. And as you can see, we have our wheat field, which I've spared no attention to detail. We have all of the walls and all of the lanterns. It goes on until our world boundary, which is here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is 1,000 days in Minecraft Hardcore. An entire walkthrough, me trying my best to have as little cuts as possible. Let me know how you think I did, if you like this kind of vibe, what you're excited for, any questions that you have, and if you've definitely gotten this far, thank you so much for taking a chance on me. I'm a small Minecraft content creator. I love doing this with all my heart, and if I had the opportunity to do it, I would totally do it full time. If you'd like to see that happen, you can become a member of the channel, and besides that, I'll see you in the next video.